Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Comedy or Worse. Yeah, we're gonna do a live episode. Let's invite the guest. Here he is. There's. Oh, I'm 3 minutes early. Oh no.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
good. You?
Good, good. Couple minutes early. Thanks for joining.
Of course. Oh man.
So, you ready for the episode?
Oh yeah. I'm ready. Just grab my water real quick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Man, get my glasses. Where they at? How you doing?
Good, good. It's
All right.
Friday.
Right? Friday. Any Friday's a good day.
Yeah.
Oh man. So how's the show looking tonight?
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a good show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Excited for it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, so here we go. Welcome back to Comedy or Worse. Yay, I'm here with a very special guest. How do you pronounce your name?
Dick Salas.
Salas.
There
Okay,
you
sweet.
go.
So how did you get into comedy?
Oh man. I wish it was a funny story. Like I really do. For me, it was actually a whim. So uh, when I got interesting comment. Uh, when I got out of no, I'm not. I guess I don't know which one I am. That's a good question. Uh, I would have to say I'm Mexican. Well, at least half. So and then the other half would be native. So I don't think I qualify. But anyways, like I was saying, so I got out of the military. And after, the transition point for vets, some vets have a hard time. And for a while, not gonna lie, I was having a bit of a hard time. And I Googled 100 different hobbies to try.
Wow.
Stand-up comedy was, I think, 98 or 99 on the list.
So you started backwards.
No, I went through the
You went
list.
through the whole list?
Yes,
What's
I
number
went.
100?
I want to say it was finger painting.
Wow.
And believe it or not, I still paint, not fingers, and not with my fingers anymore, but
Sure.
it was one of the things that stuck. Yeah, stand-up comedy was one of the few of the 100 that actually not only stuck, but I found out I really liked and enjoyed, and apparently after 7 years of doing it, it's become a full-time gig.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah,
Sweet.
but it wasn't easy. I'm sure stand up is it's very unique in the sense of if you suck, you're gonna deal with guys like this all the time, and you have to learn how to deal with them. And it's and people don't mind telling you suck, which I love.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So do you use a stage name?
Dick Salas is my stage name. My legal name would be Richard, but the only time I get called out again for legal purposes or if I'm in trouble. So
Sure.
Dick has been the name that most people call me, and sometimes I get called that even if I'm not doing comedy, which is, I'll leave
Yeah,
that up for interpretation.
exactly. So once you started stand up, did you get addicted to it right away?
Oh yeah, stand up was one of the few things I've ever tried that as soon as I did it, like literally the moment I was done my first set, I knew, oh my God, like I have to keep doing this. And that same night I did two other mics. So I hit three mics in one night. And
Nice.
that was my first night ever. I'll never forget it. It was in LA. First spot I ever did it was at the Tao. Great club, by the way, great spot.
Yeah.
They still do great stuff there. And then I hit up two other mics. Fourth Wall was one of the three that I did. And I don't remember the second one. I wish I did because that's the one I bombed. I bombed so hard. Like the
Yeah.
first one at the time, I was like, oh my God, I love this. And I thought I was funny. And I'm like, let me
Nice.
go do the same joke over there. And it bombed so bad the second
Yeah.
time. And then the third time I did it, it was like, okay. And I was like, oh, maybe I have a thing for this. I don't know. And then I just got hooked ever since.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So what is your writing process for comedy?
So I have a very mixed bag when it comes to writing. Um, some people sit and like they just want to sit for hours and just whatever and write. I know some comics that do that. Sometimes I'll do that. Like sometimes I'll get into these zones where I will sit and just write and whatever comes out of my head, just pen and paper, you know?
So do you start off in the mood to write, or you just try to get into the mood?
So like I said, it's a mixed bag. Part of it is I try to get myself into the mood sometimes,
Uh-huh.
especially if I know if it's been a while since I've actually written something. Then I'll be like,
Sure.
okay, I have to, you know, do it. And more often than not, I've been able to tap into that part of me now when I need to.
Yeah.
Um, but one of the ways that I really enjoy it is when it naturally happens. So like I'll just be going about my day and then something will happen where I'll say something or some situation will happen in my life and I'll be like, oh my God, this is I should write about this. And I'll stop and I'll write a note on my phone real quick to write later or a voice note,
Sure.
which I prefer to do the voice notes, to be honest, because
Yeah.
then I can get the inflection that I want. I can get the idea. I can explain it better to myself versus
Yeah.
writing it and then trying to remember what it was that I want, how I wanted to say it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's a very mixed bag. You know, so sometimes it's scheduled, sometimes it's not. I prefer the organic way where it just happens and then I just start writing and I'll be okay. This is a good stopping point.
Nice. So do you ever write jokes on stage?
All the time, probably more than I should. One of the things that I've always been good at was improv. Before I did
Nice.
stand up, I did do improv for a number of years. I did music for a long time.
Wow.
Um, I was the vocalist for several different bands, and I didn't know, but in between songs and during sets and stuff, I would do a lot of improv, a lot of just off the dome stuff. I was a
Yeah.
rapper for I was a rapper before I was anything else. So, and the thing that I did really good was freestyling. So that kind of plays into comedy now, where I'm really good at crowd work. I'm really good at just coming up with stuff on the fly. Um,
Great.
so yeah, so it helps. Like I can't tell you how many of my jokes I've written started on stage, and then it
Yeah.
was like I got to keep that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Sweet. So how many times do you try a joke before you're like, oh, I gotta set it aside?
As far as like if it doesn't work,
Yeah.
so before I used to do it where, and this was earlier on, where I used to have this rule, baseball rule before, where I'd try it 3 times, and if it didn't
Uh,
work, then I would put it on the shelf, right? I learned though was early on, especially if you're like 5 years or less into the game, I'll say, you may not have the experience to write certain subjects real the way they need to be written, and that won't come until you get that type of experience, you know, whether it be life experience, stage experience, both. um like I said, I've been doing this under 10 years, so it's been about 7 years that I've been doing this, but I have a lot of writing experience prior. You know, music. I ghost wrote for I can't tell you how many different artists. um
nice.
I've done, when it comes to writing, that's one of my strong suits. So what I like to do is, now that I'm a lot more experienced in comedy, I go back to those jokes that I couldn't find something before. And
Yeah.
more often than not, I'm able to find those things now. Or if I don't, one of the great things that I encourage comics to do is, if there's a comedian that you trust who's a friend of yours or a mentor type even, talk to them, run the joke by them. You never know what nuggets they'll give you. They might be that one piece that you need that you didn't know you knew you needed it, but you didn't know where to even look, and you'd be surprised how
Right.
that can come from others. So it, like I said, it depends on the comedian. I personally do the thing where I'll try it 3 to 5 times now, and if I can't find it in those 3 to 5, it's either because number one, they're like, and one of the rules I always say, usually it's too much fat. So, meaning
Sure.
the less words you need to make it funny, the better the joke is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, I would just 3 to 5 times roughly. And if it doesn't work, put it away for a bit, maybe try to rework different stuff, talk to a few people, get a couple different perspectives, and then try a different seasoning.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
But yeah.
Yeah. So who's the funniest person in your life right now?
Oh man, that okay. So I'm gonna exclude comedians, because that's not fair. If that was the case, I would say me. No, but the funniest person I'd have to say honestly in my life is probably my kids.
Nice.
They are absolutely hilarious. These guys give me a bunch of bits without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Um, it's weird watching your kids grow up and seeing just the talent, the natural talent within them, and
Yeah.
then it just kind of springs forward, and it gives me a whole, it literally, they help me write my sets without even realizing they help me write my sets.
Sure.
I think I have like 90 minutes worth of material, maybe 2 hours worth of material, and I gotta say more than half of it has come from them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's fun.
exactly why I asked that question. Is a lot of times it's not another comedian.
I've learned, one of the things I've learned, and this is not to spite other comics or talk trash about any other comics, but
Yeah.
one of the things that I learned, especially having a bunch of friends who are comedians, we're all when it's just comics, like that's where you get the real side and whatnot, and it really flows, like stuff flows and it's natural, but we're not trying to perform for each other
Right.
unless you get, but notice I said if it's one on one or just a few of you, really tight. But when you get a bunch of comics together, and it's one of those where like you're not all really good friends, you're just kind of getting to know each other, so everybody's measured. Everybody's trying to be funnier than the other. Everyone's trying to one up each other.
Yeah,
We're
it's funny
never.
when the group grows and then you feel it click over. You're like, oh, okay, now it's competition. Now
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
heightened stakes.
Yeah, there's that switch, and then there's always that one comic that will come in and they just want to put their stamp on everything,
Yeah.
and and again, not a bad thing because that is the world we're from, and that is how we deal with it. But it's also one of those where you got to learn how to pick and choose your environments. You got to learn how to pick and choose who you can bring these to. You got to know when to shut up and when to not give that away. You know what I'm saying? There's so many nuances to this game that
Yeah.
you know, uh, again, experience will teach you that. So
Yeah. That's cool. Um, so, do you wish you started comedy earlier?
sometimes I do, but I'm also glad I did it because I started thinking if I would have done this one, I couldn't have done this when I was in the military. So that took up my mid 20s to my early 30s. So there's no way that I could have done it there because in the military you can't joke about a lot of things. You're very censored on what you can and can't say. So
Sure.
that would have been very problematic. That would have been a lot of problems for me in particular because of my mouth.
Yeah.
And then before that, I was very. I don't think I would have been. I probably still would have been good in the sense of maybe I'd be funnier now just because I would have been in the game longer. But I don't think I would have the reputation that I do, because I would
Yeah.
have made a lot of bad mistakes at that point. And in
Yeah.
your 20s, I mean, come on, like early 20s, who's not a douche? Who doesn't make dumb mistakes? So I made those in music, and I learned, and I grew, and so I think coming into comedy when I did was probably the best time for me. Also because I lived life before comedy, and I had to learn how to. I've learned two things about comedians, and there's not there. So there's people who are trying to be comedians, and then there's people who are funny, and then there's those who are both. I learned that I was funny, and then I try to be a comedian. So now I'm trying to be both. And it's some
Yeah,
people got it the formula backwards. So,
sure. Yeah. So what are your goals in comedy?
well, my goals are actually kind of simple, to be honest. The first goal that I want to have, and I guess that I've kind of already achieved in one way, shape, was to have some specials, and I've done two already. One with Vet TV, another with Mas Locos.
Wow.
Um,
Awesome.
I just I won an award. I had no expectations of winning the Veteran Comedian of the Year award
Nice.
through the National Social Media Awards. So that was unexpected. Um, I want to film two more specials, at least 2 to 3 more specials, because I have ideas on the full special. I want to do like full 30, 45 minute specials because I have some very specific ideas for those. And then there's a couple places I want to play, in particular, a couple venues that if I could, I guess, check those off the list, I'd be good. One of them is the Greek Theater. I've always wanted to do the Greek, and I've always wanted to do an arena. So I guess once I knock those things off the list, because I've kind of done more or less some of the others, done clubs, sold out clubs. Um, recording has been great. I want to also, though, I guess my biggest thing that I want to do, to be honest, in comedy is I want to leave it better than the way I found it.
Sure.
Honestly, like I want comedy to, when I leave this game, whether it's however it is that I leave this game, I want people to say, you know what, like Dick made it better, and then I want them to laugh about what they just said.
That's right. Hell yeah. So do you have like a favorite fan interaction? Either you were a fan of somebody or someone came up and was a fan of you.
Oh man. Oh, okay. So I would say there's my favorite fan interaction where somebody came up to me. There was a show, Lancaster. Yeah, of all the places, I think it was Lancaster,
Uh,
where I was doing this veteran event, and I remember this. I want to say it was like a VFW that we did,
yeah.
and I was one of the co-headliners for the night. Did the show. It was a great show. We had a great audience. And I'll never forget, this lady came up to me after. She was a fan of mine. She bought merch. And she was like, hey, this is the first time I've been out in like, I don't know, she said like a year or two, because one of her, I think one of her kids, I want to say it was one, possibly two. Um, One of her kids committed suicide.
Oh, that's awful.
And yeah, and this was the first time that she went out in a public setting, and it was happened to be the show. And she said that I made her laugh so hard, and she enjoyed the show so much, and she liked me so much that um, it kind of inspired her to that it's okay for her to keep going out, and it's okay for her to have a good time, and she feels like her son want to move on. And
Wow.
it was one of those for me where I was like, am I being punked right now? Like, like I thought I
Right.
was being set up, but no, she meant it. And it was,
Yeah.
I was just shocked, like it's weird how much just making somebody laugh can, it can bring healing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And,
Sounds
and
like you made a real difference.
Yeah, and believe it or not, that's not the first time that I've had somebody come up to me after a show who was going through a hard time, who just because I made them laugh, like I don't know, it was surreal. It gave me the one of the more crazy experiences, and I would say highs that I've probably ever experienced,
Sure.
like it's just, I don't know. So those it's like those are the ones that stay with me, or like even when I've performed at, I love performing at places where they don't typically get comedy often because
Yeah.
they're so appreciative of that, like convalescent homes. I love doing uh I love doing VFWs. I love doing, hospitals. I love doing
Yeah.
um, any place where hope is needed.
Yeah.
You know, that
That's
those are my favorites. I don't
super.
mind doing the big clubs. I don't mind doing the bases. I don't mind doing the huge stuff, of course. Who doesn't want to do that? But
Yeah.
it's those real times, yeah, can't beat that.
Oh, nice. So let's see. What was your family life growing up?
Oh man, my family. So I grew up. I was born in Boyle Heights, raised in Boyle Heights, East LA. I am the typical Chicano, American story. My family was, I'm the oldest of all my siblings. At one point I had really long hair. Yes, I was sexy at one point. It's crazy. I mean, still now, but in a different way. My family, everybody was funny in my family. Honestly, like everybody that I grew up with had jokes in one way, shape, or form. I grew up with uncles that talk trash, friends that talk trash. You know, in Chicano culture in particular, um, talking trash I would say, is a love language. And that's kind of where I learned it. I learned in that type of environment where just calling someone a fat ass means you love them, so yeah, it was just, it was wild to me. So that's the type of environment I grew up in. But it was also very, I grew up in the times where there was a lot of gangs and a lot of, craziness going on in my neighborhood. And so, it was an interesting environment to grow up. And one thing I never thought I was funnier than everybody else. I thought I was just as funny as other people.
Yeah.
But time goes on and you start to realize certain things, and that had a huge influence on me, believe it or not. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool. So have you ever done any roast?
Yeah, actually, I am a roast comic. My official roast record is 4-1. Um, that one I've lost. I still haven't avenged myself yet, but I will be coming for them. Ashley, I'm coming for you in the roast battle. I want to be specific. But yeah, she's the only one, Ashley Casanova, the only comic so far that has beaten me in a roast battle. But I am good. I love roasting. It's fun. Hey, what's up? It's definitely fun. Roasting is it's a whole different beast. A lot of comics think that they can do it, and then you got to go up there and you figure out it's an
Yeah.
entirely different muscle, and I freaking love it. So hell yeah.
That's awesome. Sweet. So what was your earliest memory?
Uh, like in life.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's wow. Oh, my earliest memory in life. I There's this one memory I have no idea why it sticks out. It's not super significant, but I want to say I was like two, like between 2 and 3, and I was being carried by my grandfather. We're going up the stairs to my great grandmother's house, who lived in she lived by the border in San Isidro. She lived in these apartments, I'll never forget. And we're walking up the stairs, and I just remember him carrying me, and we're walking up the stairs going to her apartment, and my mom's in front of us, and I can see my great grandma off to the left side where her apartment was. And hey, thanks, man. Um, Yeah, I don't know why that memory. That's like the one. And again, nothing significant happened as far as like nothing traumatic or crazy, but
Yeah,
that one is. I don't know why it stuck.
yeah,
Weird.
that's super cool.
Huh.
Have you ever done a character on stage?
I do characters all the time.
Oh, nice.
I like doing different voices. I'm actually working. I'm writing different characters as during this process right now. I'm actually gonna be starting a kind of like a mini web series with characters, and I'm
Mm,
planning to do a podcast that's gonna be character based. As far as I'll be interviewing people as different characters and interacting with them as such.
that's
So
cool.
yeah, yeah, I love doing characters. I love making voices. I started doing a voice acting for a show called Concrete Chaos. It's by another comedian named Joshua Higuera. Yeah, I can't wait to. It's a big part of it. So yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. Um, so, what's the worst thing about comedy right now?
Oh man, the worst thing about comedy. Uh, let's see. The worst thing about comedy. I would say the worst thing about comedy is comics. No, I'm just kidding. No, the worst thing about comedy, honestly, is the politics. Sometimes I'd have to say because everyone has to deal with politics in every facet of life. Even in comedy, there's politics. The only beautiful part that I love about being a comedian and when it comes to comedy politics is you can tell someone to go F themselves if you really want to, and it's fine as long as you're funny. You know what I mean? And if they're the ones that get butt hurt, they're wrong. So that's probably that's like the best and worst thing about comedy. It's just the politics behind it. Because it's the one unique place where you don't have to play it exactly the way it needs to, and you
Yeah,
can still be okay. So yeah,
that's
that's my
that's
answer.
cool. So do you listen to other comedy podcasts or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a few comedy podcasts that I will listen to every once in a while. I try not to listen to too many things that have to deal with comedy for several reasons. Number one, I don't like having other people's jokes or thoughts in my head because I don't want those later on to come out in some way where I accidentally think that this might be my joke and I might have heard it from somewhere else. And
Right.
I don't want to,
Have you had that happen before?
so I had a joke once that was very similar to like there's comics that we write since a bunch of us write observational humor. There's a lot of overlap between comedians, and there was one. There's been more than a few times where comics have had jokes that I've made. One time, actually, two times where I remember there was a joke that I wrote that I thought was my jokes, and then I heard another comic do the same joke and I stopped doing those jokes because I was like, you know what? I'm not stealing their material. I didn't know, or maybe I did know, and I forgot that I heard it from that. So I just never did them again because
Yeah.
I didn't want that reputation. So that's why I made it a point to not listen to as much comedy stuff as I can. I still do dabble with things. I'll still watch certain specials. I'll
Yeah.
watch. I'll listen to certain podcasts, but I don't try to have it going in my head so much. If that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, do you ever do like jokes that are topical, like read the news and then
Yeah. I sometimes what I've been doing lately is I'll have people throw out a topic to me
okay,
and I will just riff off of it just to see if I can. I think that's a great muscle that comics need to work. There used to be a mic out here in the IE. It was called a riff off. where
Okay.
they would put a bunch of topics into like a jar, and you'd
Hmm.
have to pick out three, and you had like 5 minutes, and you would have to work all three of those topics in those 5 minutes. I thought it
Okay.
was a great concept. Um,
Sure.
I think more comics should do that. I just think the people that ran it didn't know how to work it so well, and maybe could have used some pointers, but that's neither here nor there on
Sure.
stuff. But yeah, I think that's a huge muscle that people definitely need to do. I love doing stuff like that. I love just that's how you find out if you're funny or not, in my opinion.
Sure. Exactly. Makes sense. So are you running any of your own shows right now?
So I used to run a bunch of shows, to be honest. I ran a bunch. I'm in school right now, not well, yeah, I'm in school for film right now, film media and television. And I've been going full time. So while I'm in school, I'm still producing shows here and there, but not to the level that I was, just because full time school is it's a lot. But I
Sure.
am producing shows. I do have a few that I'm planning on. I think the next one is going to be in either July or August. And then I have a couple big ones. One in October that I can't announce yet. But
Okay.
it's two big names in comedy. I can't announce it just because of contract stuff, but
Sure.
I am producing a pretty big show there where it's going to be in the IE. I can tell you it will be in San Bernardino at San Bernardino Valley College. That I can say, and it will be for veterans, particular. Like we're going to be raising money to help vet students there, but it's going to be free to everybody. It's going to be open to everybody and stuff. I'm not free, but it's going to be open to everybody to purchase tickets,
Right.
and all the money will go to help vet students. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I
sweet.
love doing stuff like that.
Nice. So you were talking a little bit about podcasts in the future. Have you done podcasts? Are you doing any podcasts right now?
I'm actually going to be starting. I was supposed to start filming my own podcast about a year ago, and then I've had a bunch of personal issues and health issues and school that took up my time.
Yeah.
And not, but now I have the right team that I'm working with, and we're going to be starting to film my podcast next month. I think it is, yeah, next month or or August. So I'm lining up guests. I already have some of the characters already worked out as far as who
Nice.
I'm going to be playing and portraying, and yeah, we'll see what goes from there. That's it's going to be called Full Metal Laughter. That's what I can tell you. So stay tuned for that because I'm ready. I hope you guys are too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sweet. Um, let's see. So, um, what's the furthest you've traveled to do comedy?
I've gone coast to coast at this point. So
Nice.
what? If, I guess 3,000 miles.
Sweet.
Yeah, something like that. So that's about the coast to coast ish, roughly. So yeah,
And then what's the longest tour you've done so far?
2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. Then we
Nice.
did a 2 week or 3 week tour. That was the longest one so far that I've done thus far. But we'll
Sure.
see. Hoping to do longer ones later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. So do you got any tours coming up or
Um, I'm probably going to be. So I know I'm going to be in Arizona for a festival. I think it's July,
nice.
August. I forget when it is. I gotta check my schedule. I do plan on hitting the road later on this year. I want to say October. No, November. Probably November. I'm gonna be on the road for a bit, and then towards the beginning of next year, I will be definitely hitting the road more. I'm just kind of want school to. I have to plan out because of the breaks and whatnot. So
Sure.
it's a lot of yeah. But I do plan on getting back on the road for a bit, reminding everybody, hey, I'm still around, just focusing on other stuff. But a lot of projects and content will be coming your way in the meantime. So
Sweet. So how is school going?
it's actually going really well. I'm almost done. I have, I think, a year left. Yeah,
Sweet.
three more semesters, and I'm done. As far as the initial part, then I transferred to university to finish up there, and I'll have 2 years there, and then bam. So I'm doing really well in my classes. Let's just hope it continues because I got statistics coming up not this semester, but the one after. So if anybody knows anybody who looks like this,
What
similar, and wants to be my doppelganger and is good at statistics, I will hire you. I'm just telling you right now.
are the
You know,
odds?
you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. There might be a Filipino out there that kind of could fit this. Or so. Look, I could even take them off and see. There you go. It makes it easy.
Whoa.
There, yeah, you see the difference. So yeah, but you could just like I said, yeah. If you know anybody out there that wants to make extra money, and
Or maybe you could hire a tutor or
I mean that's Plan B. But let's go with Plan A first,
oh
and let's see if that works. And then if I have to, then I'll take the tutor route and all that extra stuff.
goodness. Yeah, makes sense. Um, let's see. Have you ever like done something where you go up on stage and like do someone else's joke? I mean, like it's a planned thing, everybody knows it. Or like you go have a night where you do someone else's joke and they do yours, and just
Not
see
not
how crazy that is.
we haven't done. Me and some friends have joked about doing stuff like that.
Sure.
Um, it's funny because there is. I do have a sketch where that's the premise.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I don't want to give too much of that sketch, but that is the premise of it. And then the way how we do it, well, how I'm trying to spin it at the end, I'm hoping that it comes off the way I want it to. But no, I've actually talked about that with some friends where it's like, dude, it'd be funny if you did my joke and I did your joke, and
Yeah.
we wanted to do it in front of crowds that kind of already know us and whatnot.
Yeah.
So we flirted with the idea, but at the same time, it's one of those you and I both know this industry where all it takes is one comic to take it the wrong way or say it the wrong way, and now you got that little forest fire that you got to put out. But we're probably, honestly, I'm probably still going to do it. So, but we'll just see. Just take the right timing. But first, I'm gonna do that sketch and then go from there.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So I've been doing this thing called comedy interruption,
Hmm.
where someone goes up on stage without a microphone and they're doing something that takes concentration, and then two comics are off to the side and they're trying to make them laugh. They're
Okay.
interrupting them with comedy.
Okay. That
Um,
sounds fun.
yeah. So I'm gonna do that again tonight.
Okay.
Um,
That sounds
so
fun.
do you have like a skill that you would do, besides the
That involves
comedy? Obviously, you would be great, I'm sure, trying to make the person
right.
laugh. But
That involves concentration. Chess? I don't know if that's a skill. I'm not sure if that's a skill, but I'm
I
really
just
good
have
at
two people playing chess, and
right.
then
I just trying to no.
two comics trying to
That would be
laugh.
hilarious. That'd
Uh,
be hilarious.
yeah. It would have to be time chess, right? Where it's like
It would
really
have to
quick,
be. Yeah, it would
quick,
have to be
quick,
just so
quick,
that you
quick, and then
could.
you're like
That
making them laugh, and you're like, "Fuck, I can't.
that would be
I don't know
yeah.
what to do."
That would be funny. Or you could even just have one of those little time. Yeah, just time. But any game. It doesn't have to be chess. It could be
Sure.
poker. It could be whatever. That would be funny. What skill do I have that would involve concentration? Man, I wish I'm trying to think of my skills.
Go up there and just rap, or
I mean, I could, but I was like, I could assemble, reassemble weapons pretty fast, but I don't think that's gonna count. Uh, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I could rap, I could sing, I guess, I could. Shoot, what would be funny is maybe I like took a book, or you had a book that you wanted me to read,
Yeah.
and it's like a serious book, and I'm trying to read this book while other comics are roasting me or whatever. And I don't know, maybe something like that could work. I would be down to try some. I don't whatever you guys could think of that. I'm down to
Sweet.
try it. So hell yeah,
Sweet.
that
That's a
sounds
good
fun.
one.
So
Yeah, because I think lots of people know how to read. So
well, you would hope that we're
yeah,
hoping that lots of people
hopefully
know how to
they're
read.
able to like read in public,
I'm
right?
you would be surprised how many people can't read, much less read in public. I don't know if
Right.
you've seen those videos of like they're having people read words that have 3 or 4 syllables and they're
Whoa.
having a hard time
What's a
reading.
syllable?
Yeah, right. What is that? I don't understand. What is that? So, how do you spell it? Is that what the Q? So it's
It has
yeah,
multiple cues.
you'd be
Yeah.
surprised. So
Syllable.
somewhere in there. Yeah, there's like 4. So as you can tell, I'm a spelling champion. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, so have you ever won any contests like a spelling bee or a science fair or
I just won. I don't know if it's a con. I guess it was a contest. The Veteran Comedian of the Year award. I just won that.
nice?
That's
What
my
year was
first.
that? This year?
This 2026. Yeah, in the
Well, it's not
2020.
even over.
Yeah, yeah. So I already got the trophy and we had the award
But
ceremony and
what?
here it
I'm
is.
confused.
I'm
Why did
confused
they do
also,
it?
but I don't know. This is it. 2026 Veteran Comedian of the Year.
Well,
Uh,
congratulations, but
yeah, thank you. I'm confused too, but it's
somehow they
that
just
is
knew that that's it.
well, I guess I don't know. Either way, I'm like, so I won that, so that's funny. What other contests have I won? I won a karaoke contest once a couple years
Oh,
ago.
nice.
Yeah, I won a couple $100. That was cool.
What are your
Um,
favorite songs to do?
oh man, I'm a big. It ranges. So, Rage Against the Machine's one of my big favorites. Linkin
Wow.
Park, Bruno Mars.
Mm,
Um, uh, Eminem. It ranges. It just depends on my moods. Sometimes I'll even go Pantera, so it just depends on how I'm feeling that day. So that night or whatever time. Or how much alcohol's in me. So that's also another factor.
sure, makes sense.
And then I did win. I guess I also did win a contest, those like phone contests, those radio contests to win tickets. I won a few of those to see some bands, so that was pretty cool. Like
Sweet.
I saw Alice in Chains when they reunited. The Who, they're really cool. Some people
Nice.
are like, "Who's the Who?" Anyway, but yeah,
Exactly. They set them up for that.
yeah, right. So,
You know,
but yeah, stuff like that I won.
sweet. Are you reading any books right now?
Yeah, actually there's quite a few books that I'm reading right now. I started reading like I got into D&D recently, Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
So I've been reading the Dungeons and Dragons player guide, the like I have the Dungeon Master guide right here literally that I was
Sweet.
reading.
You're not supposed to
I,
read that unless are you gonna DM?
yeah, I am.
Okay. Well,
I'm
then
going to
that's
do.
allowed.
That's why yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, that's why I'm reading that part because I do plan on DMing. And then I've been reading the player's handbook because I also am a player, obviously. I just started getting into that, and then what else have I been reading? I I shouldn't get into this, but I probably going to do it anyways. Warhammer 40K. I'm starting to dive into that universe. So if anybody knows anything about that universe, you are aware of how much of a cataclysmic storm of epic crap that I'm walking into, setting myself up for that. So yeah, that's probably the route I'm going down. I'm a huge. I read a bunch of manga. Also. Yeah, it's wild. And then I'll read random stuff too. Like I'm also reading books by Carl Jung. Uh uh so some like philosophy books and
Oh,
some
cool.
existential, thoughts and stuff. It's just it's whatever piques my interest. Like I read Feynman's some of Richard Feynman's physics books as well. It's just
Oh,
whatever kind of pops in across where I'm like, ooh, this looks fun. So
oh, that's super cool. Yeah. So do you think there's life on other planets?
I wouldn't be surprised if there is, but at the same time, I have anytime that the government is trying to tell us, oh, this is real now after denying something isn't real, I get skeptical as to why now they're telling us because now something isn't adding up.
Well, I think the difference for that is there could be life on other planets, but they just haven't visited us. So,
I've always thought where if you think about it just from a logical perspective, let's say that there is life on other planets, which more than likely odds are there is. And that would mean that if they have the capability of being able to travel and check out other planets, if they're at that level of intelligence and
right,
technological superiority, imagine going flying somewhere, like driving somewhere, right? And then you're like, oh, let me see what's over there, and you look and you see a bunch of animals flinging crap at each other, destroying their environment, acting amok. Why would you want to go and spend time there?
right. Well, maybe to
Logic
study them.
from far away, yeah. But are you going to want to put yourself in the middle of that and be like, oh my God, look, oh, what is that? No, I know. They're going to be like, you know what? I'm good looking from the outside the glass. I'm fine
Sure.
here. So that if there is, that's what they're doing. They're looking at us through the zoo glass and we're on the other side. So, because, they're smart. So
Mhm.
that's my interpretation, at least.
Yeah.
Especially if they're at that level. I mean, if you're, yeah, they would have to, if to travel that way, they would have to have a higher form of intelligence, which means they're not stupid. So,
Hmm. Right. What about time travel? Do you think time travel is possible?
theoretically speaking, time travel to the past would be more possible than the future, but even then, they would both be impossible, in my opinion.
Well,
Just because.
technically, time travel to the future is the most possible because people go into comas and wake up and it's a different time. So,
I mean, but that's not really time travel because time
but to
didn't.
them it is. It's all relative, right?
I mean, at that point, if then it's okay. Then we would have to agree. Then we would have to, I think, first, what do we consider time travel? That's, I think, the first step is okay. What are we calling time
Okay, well,
travel?
how about this? We already know the faster you go, the time slows down for you.
Yes,
So it's possible, as the technology is right now, that we could build a ship that could constantly accelerate and
and
could start to hit maybe not the speed of light, but it
but
could
near it,
start to get percentages of the speed of light, and you
hmm
would be going.
and it would
Time
slow.
would slow down for
Yes.
you relative to the
Now,
people back on Earth.
which okay, so then if we're so would we be calling that time traveling, or is that just slowing time down? Because
So how about this? It's a
travel,
round trip, right? You
right,
go to visit a star where you're going to investigate
right,
something.
right.
Like, oh, is there life on this planet that's 12 light years away or
Hmm.
whatever?
Hmm.
And you're going a tenth of the speed of light. So you get there, in 120 years.
Hmm.
And oh,
It's only
there
been
is or isn't. That's not the point of the experiment, thought
right, right.
experiment. You come back, and
And
now
it's been
you're, you know, what would it be if you're going, I think it'd be hundreds of years in the future.
you would be, yeah. Well, think about it. If it took you 120 years to get there, at the minimum, it would take you 120 to get back. So it'd be 240, right?
Yeah, so
It'd
it'd
be
be
240 years,
around 240 because you're
which
probably not
for
going to all of a sudden just go. You're going to have to accelerate.
yeah.
So
So
for
then
some period of time, you're going a little bit slower.
but you're still aging. Just you're aging at a, I wouldn't want to say microscopic rate, but at a much slower rate
It would
than,
probably go,
I'm assuming, a year for every.
well, if you're going at 10 the speed of light, I think it would age like 12 years.
Oh, for the 120, you age 12, so it'd be
I
24.
think.
So you would, so
I haven't
theoretically
done the
speaking,
math.
right. So this is all hypothetical. This is all
Theoretically, yeah.
hypothetical, right? This is all hypothetical. But so it would say 24 years roughly you would
Yeah,
have aged for the 240, the
sure.
hypothetical, right? Okay. So then, which that then, okay, so then I would have to ask, okay, if we're considering that time travel, which I guess you can make the argument, but
It's traveling and
it is, there is, yes,
messing
but
with time.
yes. However, I guess the more colloquial acceptance of what time travel is you leave the present and you enter some point, whether the future or the past, at whatever present age you were when you first
Sure.
left, right? That would be the more colloquial way of accepting it. And I was talking about in that sense, where
Oh, okay.
in that way, the one that would seem to be more probable would be the past, just because we already know what happened. It would be easier for us to account for those variables, but it would still be impossible because we would have to know, like, how, for instance, like the ones that are impossible would be what was the wind percentage like, what was the humidity at that time, how many bugs, what bugs were there, how many ants were there, how many, like,
Right.
there's so many variables that we couldn't account for the past that it would make that impossible to go to, much less for the future where we could predict something. And unless we're subscribing to the infinite worlds theory where just by some chance through our predictions we enter a reality that is similar to ours but not exactly ours, but now we run into a whole branch theory thing, which is just,
Yeah.
we can keep going back and forth with this, which is, I don't think anybody cares about comics talking about this stuff, but it is fascinating.
Something to
you know
talk
uh
about, damn it.
yeah, no, it is fascinating. It's just, it's one of those, that's why for me it's like, is time travel possible? Theoretically, yes, but realistically speaking, as far as like what the common acceptance of time travel is and whatnot, no, in my opinion. Now, if there are forms of it that is could theoretically be true and is actually somewhat possible, yes, not in the sense that we more accept it at, but
Right.
you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
All right, cool. So what if these unidentified objects that we're seeing are just people from the future visiting?
well, now we run into several paradoxes if that would be the case. None of which work out good for anybody. So I don't believe time travel in that way would be possible, because if it was, existence as we know it would probably cease. Unless there is some, the only way to bridge that gap, it would take some like S God tier intelligence that AI would have to become one with itself on some type of cosmic level for even that to be possible. So unless we're talking comic books where, I don't really see that being a thing. We probably have a better chance of unlocking superpowers in time travel, in my opinion. So I don't know. And even that is a stretch.
Sure. All
But
right,
yeah, I
cool.
like these questions. These are different.
I I just ran out of questions. I'm like, I gotta come up with something.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It was just wild. Like, you'd be surprised how many podcasts and how many interviews I've done where people will ask me the same generic stuff, and I give the same answers and whatnot. But then to get questions like this, I'm like, you know what? This is the conversation me and my friends have. Like,
Yeah,
we talk about dumb stuff like this.
yeah.
Like,
It just gives you an insight on how your mind works.
oh
Like
yeah, yeah,
when you
yeah.
talk about something you don't usually think about.
Oh, that's the problem. I think with comics, where it's like trying to talk to a comic about something we don't typically think about it's, yeah. I don't think that works out well because we think about stuff we're probably typically not supposed to think about. So that's what makes it fun. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
makes it fun.
exactly. Um, yeah, like if you went into a culture where something was acceptable, but you felt uncomfortable about it, would you still do it?
I think it depends on what it is and as far as like the type of offense that would in, incur upon me
Yeah.
within the, so like for instance an example would be like in Thailand, right, in Thai culture, um it's a no-no to touch the top of a child's head. That's a
Oh,
cultural no-no, right? So to pat the top of a child, that's a, it's, it's taboo. um it's also shaking hands. You shake with your right, you do not shake with your left hand, because you in Thai culture you wipe your ass with your left hand, and if you give someone your left hand, you're giving them your shit hand. So there's little things like that where,
wow.
again, little nuances where that's not a problem for me to adapt. But if I'm going, but let's say I couldn't think of a culture that has this, but let's say there was a culture where I had to stab somebody in the toe or something. I don't know. I don't think I could do it. You know what I mean? Like even if it was with a pin to say hi, if that was the way that they say hi, like I said, like it'd be like, nah, I'm cool. Like, and then or like there's even certain like cultures, if whatever food is put in front of you, if you at least don't take a bite of, it's like telling them the f off. And I've had to endure that. So because I won't eat certain things. Just
You'd
no
be like,
offense.
ah, I'm allergic.
Well, yeah,
What if
well,
you're
I am.
allergic? Like, what are you supposed to do then?
Well, again, so it's,
You just take a bite and you're like, oh,
yeah, no, that's why I was just like, nah.
give me
If
my shot.
if I'm gonna catch an ass whooping for that, I don't mind. I don't mind cat throwing hands over something like that. It depends on what it is, and
Right.
what I would incur, if it's worth it or not. So yeah.
Right.
Well,
Well, do you see like things that other cultures do that you wish that it was part of your culture?
uh, I guess the biggest thing that I would want or bring out would be, I noticed there's some other cultures how tend to help each other more as a culture, really like to uproot and uplift their culture and invest into their culture. There's some cultures that's their real strong suits. A lot of Asian cultures are like that. A lot of Middle Eastern cultures are like that. That is probably the one biggest thing that I would want to bring over from other cultures into my own. Other than that, there's probably nothing else, just because I'm not trying to sound like I'm, anti every other culture, my culture's superior, but I mean, to being Chicano and native, we kind of have everything that a culture could want. So, other
Right.
than that, that's kind of the only thing we're missing. And if we were to get that, we would have the whole puzzle and we'd be unstoppable. And, that's just me. So,
Yeah, definitely. Do you imagine a future where there's more like a world culture where people stop worrying about where certain things come from and this, oh no, that's just something we do on Earth.
um, the only way that that would be a thing is if we entered some type of Star Wars esque type universe. And even then, I still see those type of problems happening. Maybe not on such a gigantic level, but they would still be present and relevant to an extent.
Right.
But I don't see those things dying out completely or getting. The only way that that becomes better and more manageable is if we decided to stop paying attention to what we're being told and started paying attention to each other. And unfortunately, I don't see that happening with society today because, well, look at them. So,
Right. Makes sense. Cool. Um, let's see. Is there anything else that you want to explore, or is there any
well,
topics that we missed?
you know, honestly, I can't think of. We hit some wild topics that I'm not. I'm going to be thinking about some of these things. Like, oh man, like this time, like time travel. I'm going
Yeah.
to be kind of doing more research on it thanks to you.
Let's do the math.
Uh, Yeah, I don't know if my math is that good, but I have AI to help me for that. And again,
Okay.
I am looking for someone that wants to take my statistics class for me that looks similar to me. So if you are interested in, all you got to do is show up twice. That's it, just two times. You got to show up for the midterm and for the final. That's it. Everything else I got, but I'm just kidding. I'm being serious. Uh, no, that's really it, dude. This was by far one of the I'm telling you, as far as questions, man, I'm
Nice.
going to be talking to other comics about Billy. Dude, if you haven't done this, I don't know if he's gonna
I gotta
ask the
write
same
these
question,
down.
but yeah, these questions are
Hey, what?
wild, dude. You need to write these questions down because these are some wild ass questions. There's gonna be comics that they won't even be able to say the word time travel correctly, so you
Right.
have to be careful with some of those. I'll try to not forward those to you, but
Sure.
good luck. But yeah,
Nice.
no, that's it. I am excited for the show tonight. I will say, I am pumped
Yeah.
for the show tonight. I'm looking forward to some of those
Sweet.
interesting games you want to try. So,
Yeah. Nice. So do you have any other shows to promote
I'm going
coming
to
up soon?
be in Temecula
Nice.
on the 26th of this month.
June
Um,
26th.
yeah, June 26th. I'm there again. I'm in Temecula. July. And then I'm going to be in Laughlin also at the end of the month. Um,
Sweet.
is it the 26th? I think it's the 19th. Oh, sorry. I'm in Temecula the 19th, the
Wow.
26th. Yeah, the 26th through the 28th. I'm in Laughlin. So, yeah,
And
you'll
that's
see
all
my dates. You'll see my
that's
dates.
this
Sorry.
year,
Yeah, yeah.
2026,
Yeah,
right?
I know I'm going to be at the LA Comedy Club the end of the month, and then I'm going to be in Temecula, I think next weekend or the weekend after, whatever date this is. But yeah, you'll see all the stuff that I have coming, and then yeah, I have a bunch of content that will be dropping as well.
Cool. So is there anything that you want to tell the people that are in the future right now? Because they've time traveled
Oh,
somehow and now they're in
okay.
the future.
Okay. So if there are people from the future right now and you happen to be watching this, all right, here's what I want you to do. Okay. You're gonna send an email, okay, to Dick Salas Comedy. All right. Dick Salas Comedy at gmail.com. I want you to send me the lotto numbers.
Wow.
Okay. The lotto
Which
numbers.
lottery?
Hold on. It don't matter which lottery. All right. California
Oh,
lottery. All right. You want to do the California one specifically. Okay. You're going to send me the numbers for the next 6 months. Right. Because here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. Okay. You're going to send me the numbers. You send me those numbers and send me your descendants, the ones who are here now that you're going to be coming from. Yeah. Send me their
wow.
names. That way, what I do is I'm going to send, we win. Right. And every time that one of them wins, they get I win, I get a percentage. I hook them up, they give me a percentage. See, then we all keep it in the
Nice.
family. Then we all get money that way. Then we take control and power. So holla at your boy, send them. Just saying. DickSalasComedy at gmail.com. Send them lotto numbers. Let's save
Fun.
the world.
That sounds like a
I hope
plan.
that works. Yeah, I hope that works. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
looking forward to that.
Right? And then can you imagine comedians ruling the planet? That'd be terrible. We'd be worse off than we are now. So
Hopefully it'd be funny.
it'd be funny the way it ends. I'll say that much. It'd be
Right.
funny the way it ends for sure. But
Exactly.
yeah, that's it though. So perfect.
Sweet. All right.
Oh,
Well, thanks for joining me. I
and
look forward to the show tonight.
sounds good, brother.
This is all right. This has been comedy or worse. All right.
Peace.
All right. Bye.